Hey guys, Katie here from Midsa Creek Farm, and I am going to take you along today and show you all the projects that we've been working on and all the projects that we're doing. And it's been kind of a crazy last few weeks. We live in Wisconsin, and a few weeks ago there was a court ruling that said everything had to go back to normal. And so as quickly as Owen stayed home, Owen had to go back to work. And so we have a whole bunch of projects that are partway finished. We're planning on another 10 to 12 days to be able to get these projects finished. And we've been filming as we've been going, but they're only partial videos because they're not completed. So I've been working hard on getting what I can done, and we're making progress. But it's just been, these last few days have just been absolutely crazy. So as you can see behind me, everything is turning really green very quickly. And I'm actually on my way down right now to bring plants down to our produce stand to sell. And I had mentioned it in an earlier video that I might sell extra plants, and I have. And so these are today's orders that are going out, and they're being picked up. And the way we did this, I feel, worked out amazing, especially with all the changes, with everything that's been having to go on, or everything that's been going on. And so what I did is I put up on our website all the varieties that I had, and I roughly estimated what I had available. I mean, when you're putting them on early in the spring, you kind of don't have, you have a guess. You don't know, are they all going to turn out? Are half of them going to die? All of that. So that's been why we had been bringing the plants in so long into the house when it got cold, is because a lot of these were sold. And so we ended up planting, oh, my coffee's spilling. So we ended up putting all of these varieties that we had on our website and selling them for $2 a plant. And then we had a schedule pickup option, and that worked out really well because people could schedule around their work schedules, sometime between 9 and 5 or 7 days a week. About a half an hour before they're scheduled to pick up their plants, we bring them down to our produce stand, and it's working out really well. We just had one issue where we had an emergency the other day, and I actually had to go out of town, and I had the plants already in a box, and we rushed out of the driveway, and I forgot to put them down there, but that we delivered them that evening to them. It was no problem. So it's working out really well. They schedule their pickup time. They can come pretty much any time that day after that pickup time. We're not picky. We don't have tons of orders out, and they're all clearly marked with their name, their order number, and what's in the order. And so it has worked out great. And the exciting news is that we paid for all of our seeds by selling these. Having to buy dirt, we probably didn't really break even, but it was nice to have something that gave a cash flow a little bit. We didn't sell tons, but we sold more than I thought we would, and we actually sold out. So next year we're probably going to do that again. Not quite sure. We have to figure that out and look at the actual cost versus what we made and all of that kind of stuff. So anyways, I'm bringing these down and gonna get these out because the people should be here shortly for them. And then let me show you the other projects that we have going on. So on every box, I put the person's information, like their name, so it's very clear. And then I put their order number, and then all of the plants that they're ordering. And then I put the total amount of plants there, and then the day that they're picking up and the time. So when I'm pulling an order, I'll actually print off 2 of these. Usually they go sideways, but this one had a big list, and I didn't want to print 2 labels for each of the boxes. So one of the labels will go on when I pull them actually off of my shelves in the high tunnel. It'll go on that, and then I keep all that person's plants together, and then that way I can keep an eye on them. I make sure I don't oversell, all of that kind of stuff. So then when I pull them, usually the evening before, I try to pull them and put them in a box to bring down here, and then I'll stick the label, the second label, on there so that they have a nice, clean, not wet, not muddy label. And it's been working out really well, and it's very clear to the people that that's their order, and it works out really, really nice. I will need for next year a better way to either store the boxes or have some sort of less flimsy, less more water resistant box to put the plants in that we sell if we decide to sell some next year again. Because sitting overnight in the greenhouse, they get kind of soft and flimsy, and I hate that. I know that most are probably that way when people buy from big greenhouses and that kind of stuff, but I don't like that. I like to have good quality, and so I want to figure out something more for that next year. So I have been trying to take like an hour a day and start getting things cleaned up along the driveway. I am going to plant some giant pumpkins along the driveway, kind of more off along the edges, and so I want to get all the brush and all of that cleared up. We are still planning on opening this fall for like U-pick and all of that kind of stuff. I also ordered a whole bunch of mum starts, like 250 mum starts. I'm going to try to grow some mums to also sell. But I've been just starting down at the produce stand, and I've been working my way down and cleaning up the dead brush that was just right along the edge of the driveway. And I take my little chainsaw and the 4-wheeler and a trailer, and I just spend an hour and get one spot cleaned out, and then we put all that brush in a pile for the wood chipper, and then the next day do it again. Usually kind of around 5 or 6 in the evening, I'll come out and spend an hour doing that. So let me show you this. This was all like had a whole bunch of brush in there, and so did this area here. You can kind of see some on the camera there, back there, but this whole area was filled with brush. So I'm just trying to get the stuff that's visible from the road cleaned up. And then like these trees had some dead limbs on them, and so I trimmed the bottoms of those so it just looked a little cleaner. So I just wanted it to look a little cleaner, and I'm just working my way down the driveway. We do have a wood chipper. We've been under burn bans since like early or mid-March, and so we decided to just invest the money in a wood chipper because we can't burn the brush, and then we can actually use the wood chips as mulch in the pumpkin patch. So it's a win-win. It just is all taking time, and I don't really have a lot of time right now because everything needs to be done right now. But this is what an area looked like before. I actually started working on this, so let me show you. This I worked on last night. So this whole area was filled with brush. These are logs that, not logs, these are things that they're probably, some of them aren't too big for the wood chipper, but we can use that for firewood, so there's no point in chipping that. So I put a stack here because there was quite a bit of that, and then I have all that back there to clean up. I don't know if I'll get to that area this year yet. It would be nice if I could, but I have more that are like right along the edge of the driveway that I need to clean up. Let me show you this next one, and I can show you kind of what I've been dealing with. Along the way, this is where I threw the old straw bales down last year here, and so I'm going to be planting some giant pumpkins in this area right along the driveway. And that is going to be one of the projects for today, is to get that done. And the reason why I started wood chipping or pulling brush is because I knew that I needed to get it out before I could plant, and so I was just working my way down. So I'll have to clean this up today before I can plant, but that shouldn't take long. That should take probably 10 minutes. So that's kind of what we're dealing with, like old trees that had fallen down. And so when Owen had his chainsaw, I had him cut them up, but now that I have my own chainsaw, I don't need him to cut them up for me. And then like here's some here. Just looks kind of, I don't want to say junky, but just messy. And like here's one, a big pile. So for this pile here, I might just, it's so like little limbs, so I might just bring the wood chipper down here, because right across the driveway I've been stacking piles of brush so that we can chip. So that area right there, I'll wait until we get the wood chipper down here. In previous videos, Owen was working on that Ram tractor, and with him going back to work early, it was just too cumbersome and awkward to move by myself. So we needed to come up with a different solution. We took this area here that was kind of our backyard, and it is about a half an acre, and we decided to just fence that in. So what we did, this was the plan for a temporary pen, not a temporary, a seasonal pen. So like we would put the ewes and one of the rams in here, the ewes and another ram in another pen. And so this was kind of more towards the fall that we were gonna work on this, but it just worked out right that we took the goat fence, the high tensile goat fence that's back there, and we ran it down, way down to the other side of the tree line. It was already there, so I shouldn't say we ran it down. We did reroute it so that at the end there, it actually turned this way and went for our new fence, because we're high tensiling this whole property. And so the goat pen is actually going to be like 4 acres, and so it required us moving the existing fence, and we were going to put the goats in there for a while, and it just worked out that we were able to move that fence right away and get that up. And so then it was just a matter of putting up these other 2 fences for them. And so it was a 2-day project to get the one fence line moved back in the corner to go wrap around. And so that goes down towards the hay shed there, so it ends probably way over there. And then so then we got this set up for the rams. And the first day we had them, we actually had the cattle panels, and we were like rotating them and moving them a few times every day. And then when Owen got the call that he had to go back to work, we decided to start training them to the electric fence. And so the first day they tried to go through, and made my heart beat a bit, but they realized that it shocked them. And so we realized that they probably have not been on electric fence that much. So we put flags, let's see here, we put flags up where they are. And right now we have this divided. This is probably a quarter of their area, and it goes way over there. And so we are gonna let them out tomorrow in the entire area, but we have to put up the flags yet. And so I, with Owen at work for almost 12-hour days until tomorrow, I wanted to be able to look out and see them, because I don't want them to get out. So we put the cattle panels that we had, and we just divided it into a smaller area, and then tomorrow they'll get the bigger thing. I'm hoping that when they're in it, we can start chipping all those piles of brush, because that's some of the brush that we've accumulated this spring that we are trying to chip. But they are loving their space. They really are appreciating it. Aren't you, Vlad, huh? You like your new space, don't you? But they do want to get to that grass. So they have some areas that they can eat yet here, but I don't think that grass is their favorite. I think, you know, the fresh stuff is their favorite. But it's amazing because we've actually already had them grazing in the cattle panels through here, and you can't even tell. So this really is going to do a lot for the pastures when we can get everybody out on the pastures beyond that fence line. But for now, it is working out well for them, and they'll be really happy to be able to get out and roam this half an acre here. So I got my work for the day done for my job, for my business, and got some more plant orders out and done down to the stand. They were picked up and ran to the post office for my outgoing deliveries for the day. And we got Patches, the heifer, the pregnant heifer, out on pasture. So she was very happy. We got the sheep out, we got the sheep fence moved. And so now I'm gonna take that area that I showed you just a little bit ago and get that cleaned up so that we can plant pumpkins in the straw that I had left there and get some landscaping fabric down and that kind of stuff. So Beck's gonna mow this for me while I start throwing brush. All right, so we got most of that done. I am going to take the weed whipper, or I'm gonna have Beck do it, and weed whip the rest of these shrubs in here, and then we can rake this out. And then this area here, I think I'm gonna plant, I've got that straw bale there. I was planning on putting like a giant pumpkin kind of right in there. But now that I'm looking at this, I'm wondering if I could put 2 rows of pumpkins, because now if we get that, the shrubs and everything, if we get that raked and all that, they can kind of expand that way as well. So I think I might put 2 rows of pumpkins here instead. So that'll take some figuring out. But we got that done. So we're making lots of progress.